Welcome back to the Lost Beat 6 show. Thanks for coming. Glad to have you here. We're glad you're here with us. While we are sort of recalibrating some of our interviews and some of our other, normal program, we have a show, an old favorite of mine that we recorded a few years ago with Eric and myself, and talking about the beefinest records of all time, like albums, not singles. Because singles would be a different story. So that's what we have for you today. But for other updates on the rest of what we're doing at Lost Beat 6 here, we have 2 records we're working on with our 2 artists, Dr. Fun and the Denim Emperor. And we're starting a new segment of this feed on this channel, so this subscription feed of like a intellectual, like a book club. We're calling it a book club, but it's essentially sort of another extension of what we used to do about like what are you reading, what are you getting into with our buddy Sean. He's been on the Beef Sessions recently, and we're gonna try to bring Beef Sessions back too, but we're gonna have that every Friday, I think. And the Lost Beats, and please visit lostbeat6.com. Please visit lostbeat6.com for more information of where you could find our music stuff, our podcast, our essays and stuff. There should be a few essays coming out soon. I just have to finish writing them. Also, please check out Beefin Around the World by the Psychedelic Space Beef Band. That's currently out everywhere you can find it. And so we're still pushing that. We'll be pushing that for a while because it took a long time to make. And anyway, please enjoy this little highlight from 2018, August 2018, about what we think are the beefinest records of all time. We'll explain that in the show of what that means and what we think might be the best ones out there. So, enjoy.
I'd rather condone or abide by this fucking recording session happening in my fucking kitchen.
Psychedelic Space Beef Band. God damn it.
She's hungry for Mongolia barbecue and dick.
Basically, what's going to happen is every week we're going to offer to suck Mark out.
Steven, do you realize how bad of an idea this was? This is an idiotic. So it's another episode. Yeah, exactly. How Backstreet Boys. It's like, what are you doing? Do you know what you're doing? Obviously, like as a friend, come on, guys. An incredibly poor decision and literally betrays everything that the Beef Session is about.
Welcome back to the Lost Beat 6 show. This is Punish Steve. I'm here with the DRE as usual. How you doing, everybody? We got a kind of a nice small quieter show tonight. Just the 2 of us kind of chatting it up.
More musical.
Yeah, we got a request today to not stick to sports.
And our sports guy C-Dub, he couldn't make it tonight, so things lined up.
It did. So we're gonna do something a little bit tonight where we've been talking about a while now.
A plan we've had for a while, definitely, and certainly a plan that's inspired future projects for sure.
Very true. And we're basically gonna discuss what we would consider the beefinest albums of all time.
You know the beefers, you know us. Now you get to hear what the beefers think about beef.
So these are our, we're going to go over, some obvious choices that we want, and then we're going to discuss what would make the list and what wouldn't. So I think how we're going to do it is we're going to quickly discuss ones that we know are going to be on the list.
Yeah, there's some obvious picks. There's some no-brainers.
And then I'm going to throw up some ideas of what would make the cut if they make the cut.
Steve's a little bit more researched in terms of basically everything, and I'm kind of more, shooting from the fly here. So I think that's the format we're going to go with.
Yeah. So essentially, we're gonna go ahead and just kick it off with. Actually, I'm gonna have a question for you, Eric. What would you consider an album to be like a beefin album? Like,
So just the criteria.
yeah.
So it's gotta have guitar, I think. Someone can prove me wrong or throw me a jazz album or something my way. I don't know. I'll consider it. But what you
Tears
think
for
of?
Fears, maybe. Not very guitar centric.
Not guitar centric, but got guitar. The guitar is kind of.
What about hip hop?
Hip hop is.
Where does hip hop live?
I don't know if hip hop lives in the guitar.
Because I do have one suggestion that is a beefin album.
Okay.
It's in there.
All right, we'll see.
So you know,
but back to your question, the criteria is, and maybe this actually supports the hip hop argument. It's got to be dripping in something, and usually that something is attitude or confidence or arrogance. It's usually knowing that what you're doing is really fucking good, and it's also got to involve some fucking licks, some hooks, you know? Like, I wouldn't consider Absolutego by Boris a beefin' album, even though it's got many of the requirements, but that album is more on the experimental and kind of very personal or self-expressive way, which is usually not what we're kind of going for here. That's beefin's usually got to be a little more not party friendly, but you know, you don't need to be in a particular mood to enjoy it per se, right?
I would agree. It's we all have our own personal favorite albums that we all like to listen to.
I feel like it's got to transcend some taste.
Yeah.
So on that criteria, I'd say usually guitar heavy, got to have some hooks, got to have some balls, got to have some beef. You know, it's gotta hit you. You know, it's gotta have impact. And that may be broad, but that's broad by design.
Yeah.
So
because if we went by all these different rules, and I start ruling out certain things, and it gets kind of.
And hey, I will make exceptions if something is exceptional in some regard. I'm like, okay, that's gotta hit the list, you know.
Right.
So, unless there's anything else, without further ado, should we go ahead and get into this here?
Yes, I'm going to go ahead and just start the nominations off.
And is this the for sures, or is this the debatables?
I have like 3 for sures.
Okay.
Maybe 4 for sures right now.
So we'll go ahead and then talk about why we like them.
Yeah. And then we'll keep it brief because I'm going to try to fit in at least 10 and make a list of 10. Okay. And if we get some honorable mentions that get 12 or 15, then so be it. But the first one I'm going to list is Led Zeppelin 1.
Oh yeah, that's got the best John Bonham performances, like song per song wise. You know, It's got probably the best Robert Plant vocals. I'm not so sure if it has the best John Paul Jones bass. It's up there.
Yeah, I think
it's really good.
Yeah,
I think I prefer Led Zeppelin 2 for the bass. I really like the Lemon Song bass.
Yeah,
that's like
always
fucking incredible.
Classic, yeah.
And Jimmy Page wise, he has good shit on every album. I feel like it's kind of hard to rank. You know, like Jimmy Page performances. He was the producer and writer of, you know, most tracks. He's involved in everything.
And he also had the, you know, as far as that,
he had the least amount of writing on this one. You know?
There's a certain, I always talk about the Glenn Johns sound, but that does not quite
sure.
fit
I don't
quite
share the
mold.
engineering perspective as much, but go ahead. Feel free to shed some light on the engineering behind.
I don't think I need to. It's pretty much, you know, the discussion is basically he set the mics up, the band did their thing. As that's how it is written in Glenn Johns' memoir, but the Jimmy Page-ness of the bombastic and the look at what I can do, and
Oh, yeah,
he continuous solos into the verses.
It's something we are familiar with at the Space Beef Band.
One would say that we kind of got it,
I mean,
subconsciously.
I will admit, when I picked up a guitar at age 12, in my first 3 years, I bought several Led Zeppelin guitar books, and my dad owned a DVD of the only 15 good Led Zeppelin live performances, all compiled into one disc. And I also owned a CD that had Led Zeppelin guitar tracks where they had 3 options: remove guitar, remove vocal, and remove guitar and vocal. So it was like sing and play along with Led Zeppelin. So I would play along with the ones that took out the guitar track, and I would look at the book and try to mimic everything. So the early days of my guitar playing were very Jimmy Page influenced, as everyone that's looked at my guitar playing could attest to. So it's no secret there.
Nice.
But yeah, Led Zeppelin 1 for sure. Beefin in basically every way. I think How Many More Times is probably the best track on the album. What do you think, Steve?
I flip between that and Dazed and Confused.
I feel like the live performances of Dazed and Confused sometimes surpass the studio edition.
I disagree, because I think that one goes on and on and on and on and on forever.
Yeah, but you get so many more versions of it that you find more things.
I suppose. I think just
the studio version is the most, complete or consistent version, of course. But I've seen a lot of really fucking good shit from like black and white, like Dutch TV performances. I'm like, oh shit, they're fucking going hard in this one.
The one from the Paris bootleg.
Yeah, the Paris bootleg was good.
Or it's deedle 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 deedle.
So yeah, I think I'd agree that those 2 tracks are probably the best. I mean, Good Times, Bad Times is probably the most fun.
Yeah.
It's one we're going to be doing later on. We'll talk about that a little bit later.
It's in the repertoire.
It's coming in the repertoire. But anyway, let's move on to number 2 here.
Number 2, and this is not in any chronological order.
Oh, it's not in a chronological?
No, because I
So it's in a ranking order, or just
just in list order, just to have them on file.
Okay.
Because I had this organized previously where I could do it chronologically. But instead, I'm just going to go with the for sure's and then add in the list later.
Okay.
The second one I have is The Chronic. It's Dr. Dre's The Chronic.
Okay.
And this is where I mentioned the hip hop thing, because there's not a lot of guitars on this record.
There's some guitars. There's a lot of samples.
Yeah, that's true. But they're not. They're obviously like part of the licks. It's you would say the grooves kind of work. It's the way the grooves kind of busted,
right,
and the way that the production is built around this sort of just, I don't know.
I feel like The Chronic is similar to late 60s, early 70s, classic rock, like fucking smash hit guitar album. It may not be centered around an electric guitar with distortion, but yeah, what you're saying about the grooves and the samples kind of take the place of that guitar. Like, maybe Beefin there needs to be a lead something, be it a saxophone, a guitar track, or a fucking groove. There's got to be something right in there, you know?
Yeah.
So maybe I should refine my earlier statement, but
I don't think so. We kind of understand that. It's,
sure, but yeah,
there's an attitude involved with The Chronic that is so.
Yeah.
Like you were saying, bombastic is one of those great words.
Yeah, it hits you immediately. Like, you got that fucking intro, and then Fuck With Dre Day is just like, oh my god.
I would say
so
a good natural instinct that you would have when you hear one of the top Beefin records is like your instant smile and that shit-eating grin that grows on you when you first hear the record. You're just like, yes,
okay, all right, I'm getting into something.
Like, oh, here we go. Like,
yeah, absolutely. Favorite track on the Chronic?
Rat-a-tat-tat. That's my favorite.
That's a good one. I still might fuck with Dre Day.
It's good. No, I don't think there's a. There's no gonna be. I don't think there's gonna be like that's a terrible track. How dare you pick that one?
Yeah.
What an overrated pick.
My favorite Radiohead record's OK Computer. No,
Yeah.
Fuck with Dre Day just goes so hard right away, and it really.
It's a good choice.
Yeah, it's like Nothing But G Things. Obviously, it's great, but fuck with Dre Day. It's got an energy that's different that I think is really an energy that symbolizes maybe the album more than Nothing But a G Thing.
Yeah, I think it gives you a better thesis.
Yeah, I feel like the album's angrier than we probably remember. It came out right after the riots. There's a lot of shit, but
there's an anger in it, but it's also everybody.
This is the white perspective, of course. Take that with a
sure. But I think if you take like the Los Angeles perspective of like the people in Los Angeles, it's kind of made for people consider that this record like we've had a really tough year. It's time to kick it, and that's kind of what everybody kind of gets from that record. Like when Jonathan Gold wrote rest in peace, wrote about it.
R.I.P. And pepperoni,
and like everybody kind of considers this record like more about having a good time than about sort of being bitter at the
state of current affairs
or the beginning of
Rodney King situation.
Rodney King, and also the business problems with Ruthless, like the inner political problems that were going on with like the Ruthless Records breakup.
Right.
The beginning of Death Row, and
Suge Knight, you madman,
Suge Knight.
Oh, jeez.
So,
but I will say, the Average Homeboys, we are looking into making an album. Of course, we've been looking into that since 2011. But the Chronic, definitely a huge inspiration. So if we ever can put together some beats, we're gonna have a lot of tracks. Excuse me. That sound similar to the Chronic. We're doing our homework.
Okay, number three is Electric Wizard's Dope Throne.
Oh, that's the biggest no-brainer.
It is.
My god.
It would have been number one, but we just like not like I said. These are not
chronological. This was not alphabetical
or ranked in importance.
I'm gonna rank it number one right now, though.
I would probably also rank it number one. It is the dankest record I've ever heard.
The album's. You can never smoke weed and you hear the album, you're suddenly high if you've never heard it before.
It is the widest grin you get every time you listen to it. Like, yes.
It's incredible. I don't know how they did it. It's an album where the band is good and their best album. Normally a band that has a best album that's way better than the others, their other albums are not good. That's why that discrepancy is so big.
Yeah.
Electric Wizard's other albums are good.
Yeah.
They're just nowhere near as good as Dope Throne. It's incredible. I don't know how it sounds like that. The amount of low end and just the filters they use on his voice.
Yeah, the distortion on the voice.
It sounds like the same band but another band. A better band. It's like, it's like if they all fucking took steroids for musicians and that was like their 98, Home Run Chase album.
Right.
Like it's on another level. For a great band. Saw them live. They were great. You know what they close with? The fucking
Dope
best
Throne.
track on the album, Funeralopolis. They played Dope Throne. That was not
right.
the closer.
It was
but
Funeralopolis they closed with, yeah.
But it's striking to see an album that far away better than the other albums for a good band.
Yeah.
Like, I can't think of another band where their best album is like 6 times better than their second album, but their second best album is also good.
Yeah,
Like, it just does not happen. Like, I would love to talk to the guys, but like, how the fuck did this happen? Like, we saw some of the videos of them, the making of, you know, and they're great, but you know, it doesn't really shed any insight on how the fuck they got that sound.
For me, it does a little bit, but
sure,
you know, like what amps they were using,
right? The amps, but
what mics they were using.
Yeah, but none of like the mixing process, you know.
They show the mixer too, but like
but the process of like putting things together,
it's
very important.
Well, it was recorded live, and I think a lot of it was done with a commitment on the front end. Which is not what you do digitally anymore. Everything it's done in the back end because you have all the time to change your mind and things. But anyway, the
can't give enough love to that album.
Yeah.
And for the rest of the pod, in the background, we'll have it going. All right, Steve. Moving on.
So those were the definites. Like, no way in hell that's not gonna be on the list.
No arguments from me.
The rest of them are basically I'm gonna throw up there and see if we're gonna stick it and if it should go on, what and whatnot. And the first one gonna be offered up. Yeah, I'll probably need to turn that down.
I'm gonna turn it down. All right, continue on.
All right. Is a Jimi Hendrix Electric Ladyland?
I can't remember if I've stated this on the pod before. I've mentioned it to you in discussion.
Mm-hmm.
No one's had a better final 2 tracks than Jimi Hendrix ever had for official studio albums. You end side 4 with All Along the Watchtower and Voodoo Child's Slight Return. Like,
right.
that is insane.
Yeah.
That it might be a better 1-2 song for anything.
Yeah.
Let alone ending your studio album career.
Right.
Like, Voodoo Child, I will defend as the greatest guitar track ever. In pop music. I'm not going to sit here and claim, this Parisian 2-finger guitarist from the 20s, you know, he had this song. I'm talking about pop records.
Yeah.
That's the greatest guitar track ever.
I picked that record up, or it was given to me at Christmas, actually. And all I wanted to listen to was those last 2 songs, but I also learned how
There's
awesome
a lot
the
of
rest
other
of those
really good
songs
songs on it too.
The Rainy Days, Dream Aways, and the reprise, 1983, Mermaid and Turn to Be, going the sonic exploration all those tracks do.
I feel like it's not quite as beefin as some of the some of the other stuff.
I would put,
it's more like
I would put Rainy Day,
personal, you know.
I would put Rainy Day in there. I would
There's
submit
definitely
Rainy Day.
some tracks
I'd
on
submit
there.
even Voodoo Child, the 14-minute long blues jam.
Voodoo Child.
Yeah, that's what I said. Child.
I'm repeating it because I never knew it was pronounced that way.
Yeah, because he sings it, Child.
Yeah,
You never said
the
Voodoo.
14-minute track.
Voodoo Chile. Lord knows I'm a Voodoo Chile.
Maybe it was Chile, like the country. I don't know.
It'd be funny. Anyway, so are we gonna pass that?
On
Table-
the strength
you
of the
wanna
last 2 songs
you wanna
alone,
table it?
I could not condemn it or not pass it.
Okay. It's going on the list. Put it on the board.
Plus the UK album art. It could have been 2 hours of silence, but the album art, you know, it's gonna get some consideration. That's a beefin' ass choice right there.
That's good. And there's
really, fuck Puritan America.
Oh yeah.
Fuck off.
It ain't right.
Fuck off.
Yeah, it's not natural.
Let's get some titties on this album. It's Ladyland, lads. Some good titties on that cover.
And I'm an equal opportunist. You want to throw some dicks on there too, like.
I mean,
I don't want to be.
that's your
I want to
prerogative
be.
there,
I want to
Steve.
make sure we get a good balance.
I want to make sure we get some titties on there. You want to make sure you do your thing.
I just don't want to sound sexist. I'm not gay. I just don't want to sound sexist.
Not gay, willing to sound sexist.
But if I was, I would want equal rights. So I got a couple. We have a couple artists on here,
Okay.
and because it's like a 10, I'm trying to keep this down to 10. I'm trying to keep like one album per artist.
Right.
So we got like, when I throw up the next ones, it'd be like, okay, we got to figure out. One of them would be some. There's more than one Beefin Record, perhaps, but one's got to make the
Well,
top
feel free
10.
to mention multiple records if you want.
Yeah.
For, context.
The one I'm going to throw up right now is King Crimson, and it's between Red and Discipline. And I'm going to probably go with Red for now.
I don't think I cannot go with Red. I feel like Discipline, that's a level of King Crimson I never fully dived into, but I'm not going to say that it's better or worse. It's just a little different. For me, Red resonates with me more.
Okay.
I like that era. That's like, certainly in our opinion, 69 to 75. That's the prog rock era that matters, right?
Yeah.
Like there's good stuff that maybe it came before or after, but that's kind of the era that really sticks out.
Yeah.
And Red was 74. Coincidentally, not a lot of Fripp. A lot of the other guys, like Fripp oversaw everything, of course.
Yeah.
But it was,
He was-
more,
he
a
was-
little more of a collaborative effort.
That's true.
And love Wetton,
We all
love
know.
Bruford, love Fripp.
Yeah.
love all those.
Those guys are all great.
That's kind of the power trio that
Right.
Now, obviously, there's some side players, some violinists, some
And David Cross, and that one they brought in like Mel Collins and Ian McDonald to do horn work, and somebody else. Maybe.
But for me, that symbolizes. That's the tone I wanted for Deadline.
I always thought it was Discipline.
No,
Because I was doing an elephant talk like a damn.
you were doing that, but the tone I wanted
Okay.
was the Red tone, where it bites. Red bites.
Yeah.
It's melodic, but it's harsh,
Right.
and it's very listenable. But it just, I had never really heard music like that really just kind of punch you in the gut, but it felt good. I was like, damn, this this is really cool.
Yeah.
And Discipline is a little bit more kind of rhythmic, which I'm not going to say is better or worse, but for me, I don't value that as much as that kind of Red tone. Just the emotional and musical tone.
Okay.
That I picked up more on that than the kind of Discipline, kind of rhythmic tone.
Okay.
So for me, Red is definitely the one I prefer. Although I respect the hell out of Discipline.
I mean, yeah, I think it was going to be Red anyway, but I just wanted to make sure we didn't cover that. We had that covered.
Yeah, for sure.
So Red up there. Yeah, can't say much about that. The ability, just that. And with King Crimson, it's always interesting how they were always like slightly ahead of the curve of how things were going. Where like Red was always toning.
I mean, we
Red
could
was
talk
always
about
toning
this
down.
in another podcast. I consider
I just
King
want
Crimson
to make the point. Their
yes,
ability.
7 and no one else.
Wait, what?
So in power rankings, King Crimson's number 1. Skip 2 through 6. You have Yes, and then
Why-
the others, I don't really care that much
Why
about.
is Yes 7?
tiers below King Crimson. Body of work.
Oh,
Like prime era.
okay. We'll have to talk about that later. I'm a little confused.
That's why I mentioned it in that way.
All I just wanted to mention was that just the credibility of them to just put stuff, improvise on the spot in a non-jazz way, or in a non-blues jazz tradition is always high on my list on impressiveness.
Love me some Yes.
So, okay. So, I also have on here either Paul's Boutique or License to Ill.
Now that's a tough one. I have to go Paul's Boutique, but the argument for License to Ill can be made and should be made. There would be no Paul's Boutique without License to Ill.
That's true.
Obviously. License to Ill is such a great parody of so many things.
Mm-hmm.
It's and also sincere in a lot of things. I think they kind of overplayed a lot of the satire in that. There's some really fucking good samples and track buildings in the latter end, the Slow and Low and Time to Get Ill. The final two tracks have some fucking awesome stuff. And even not Brass Monkey, let me look it up. But that album has a lot of, the first fucking track is When the Levee Breaks in Sweet Leaf. Like, you kidding me? Like, what an incredible synthesis.
Mutiny on
Mutiny on the deck is what I'm all about. Yeah, like, it was just right away going fucking hard. So, License to Ill, I think, in the scheme of things, critically is underrated. But, Paul's Boutique, you can't really argue against Paul's Boutique, if we're being real.
Rhyming and Stealing is the song I'm thinking of.
The Dust Brothers are just... The song I'm thinking of, Hold It Now, Hit It. Great song.
Oh, yeah.
Hold it now, hit it. But, License to Ill has, that run from Fight for Your Right till the end of the album. I'll skip Brass Monkey. That's a little kind of annoying of a song.
Right.
It's not really my style. So, aside from that one, not that I dislike it, it's just a little, it's kind of like the epitome of the obnoxious Beastie Boys,
Yeah.
effect that I wasn't really looking for. So if you go Fight for Your Right, No Sleep Till Brooklyn, Paul Revere, which is incredible, Hold It Now, Hit It, Slow and Low, Time to Get Ill, that's 6 tracks that can hold their own with Paul's Boutique.
Yeah.
But Paul's Boutique is just, it was the most innovative hip-hop album at the time. It got them sued out the ass for all the samples they used without permission. God bless them. And it really... I'm not so sure if Ready to Die samples the way they do if Paul's Revere doesn't. That kind of track building. The Avalanches don't do what they do.
Yeah.
The building a track from the, it's like, it really felt, it was like a laboratory. The License to Ill tracks don't feel like a laboratory song.
No.
Not that every hip-hop song should be one, but, a lot of the best ones are, because I really do love that tradition of, going through old records and combining beats and hooks and all this shit and rapping. That's fucking great. And Paul's Boutique, really felt like the first great, sampling or sample bill album. Dust Brothers also great on Odelay. Another.
That's also on the nomination list. So if you want to put that on there, we can do that right now.
Let's go. All right, so we're gonna go
Transitioning.
ahead with Paul's Boutique. Next up is Odelay. I'm gonna say no.
No.
Mellow Gold is just, it's too much. It's the exact Beck I want.
Mellow Gold, it was between Odelay and Mellow Gold. So we
I figured that'd be the second one.
Yeah.
It's a tough one. I feel like just that's the like the perfect like hillbilly like who the fuck is this guy? Like it really like I like that so much about Mellow Gold, and there's so many great moments on that. She can talk to squirrels.
Yeah. Coming out of convalescent home.
Down, motherfucker! Late for work. It's just it hits on a level that resonates more than any of the Beastie Boys License to Ill moments.
Right,
Like, it's like even more authentic. Of like, oh my god,
Everyone's out to get you, motherfucker.
yeah, it's
Hey, Mr. Asshole.
like I love Odelay, and I love that live DVD we got. What was
Oh,
it, like
God,
the,
yeah.
was it the fucking like Ellen show?
It was like some Toronto.
Wherever
Canadian.
the fuck, great show.
Yeah.
But Mellow Gold is that's exactly what I want from Beck. That's like perfect. So that's a tough one, but I'm gonna have to go Mellow Gold for that one.
So we got 3 spots left.
Okay.
I'm gonna list the list so far what we got on Beefness albums of all time, in no particular rank, in no particular, obviously not in chronological order. You got Led Zeppelin 1, Dr. Dre's The Chronic,
Yep.
Electric Wizard Dope Throne, Jimi Hendrix Electric Ladyland, King Crimson Red, Beastie Boys Pulse Boutique, and Beck's Mellow Gold.
Yep.
So we got 3 spots left, and I got 1, 2, 3,
Let's see what we got here.
4, 5, 6 nominees.
Okay. Let's go
Maybe
through it.
7.
Maybe 7.
Trout Mask Replica.
Cannot be ignored. Let's keep moving. I want to hear everything before we go into it.
I got Disraeli Gears Cream.
That's definitely the most notable and not productive, but maybe impactful power trio of the rock era of that time.
Yeah.
Let's keep going.
Music from the Big Chair.
Okay.
I currently put Ex-Military as a Death Grips album, although we can pick any Death Grips album that suits the bill.
That's not a bad one to put. I mean, I'd say it's between that, the Money Store, Government Plates, and the Powers That Be.
Yeah.
The other albums are good, but continue.
And Rolling Stones, Exile on Main Street.
I have a hard time considering that one beefing in the same way that I'm thinking of these others, but continue on.
And a couple, maybe a jazz record or two, maybe Black Saint, Sinner Lady.
I'm probably gonna lean towards putting that one on there.
Or
That's like a fucking King Crimson like jazz, like it's just it's kicking your ass and you're like, oh my god.
or maybe a Love Supreme.
The spiritual beef can't be ignored there.
So, and then I also threw like Ready to Die because you mentioned it and I forgot I had it. So
I think I'm gonna have to round this list out with Black Saint and the Sinner Lady, A Love Supreme, and Ready to Die. I feel like
you wouldn't even put the music from the Big Chair in there.
It's a bit more of an ironic beef.
Are you telling me that you actually don't like Tears for Fears?
I love them, but I can't love them in the same way I love Black Saint and the Sinner Lady. There's no way. Like, they're incredible, but it's, It's like, is my favorite ice cream my favorite food over my favorite fucking ribs? Like, no, it's my favorite ice cream. Some favorite ribs.
That's a good point.
I love those guys, but it's clearly a little some dorks from England with great haircuts, making some of the best pop bangers of the 80s. I can't put that in the same level as Mingus or Coltrane or what was the third one there?
I threw Ready to Die in there.
Right, yeah.
I'm not sure about Ready to Die, because I think you're into that more than I am. But you're kind of the
dog.
There's a thing about you being the Beefheart general, and I'm not. So
I will put Ready to Die above Paul's Boutique.
Okay.
As a performance, I will qualify it with that. As a production and album, I might rank Paul's Boutique above, but the greatest single rap performance on an album I've ever heard is Biggie Smalls on Ready to Die. That is incredible. So I think I'm gonna round out the list with that. Love Cream, loved Israeli Gears.
Would you say those make it in the back channels? So maybe the last, if this went to 15, would that make the cut?
I'd say that album does, yeah. That's a really good one. Obviously, as I mentioned before, the Captain Beefheart cannot be ignored. He's Captain Beefheart. So,
Okay.
So, And then, Songs from the Big Chair is,
Because we do,
it's all time.
We do have to make a point that
it's all time.
There's an albums and there's also singles.
There's albums and singles.
There's songs. There's a playlist that we shoot to because there's a song.
And hey,
we beef to. There's a song I don't think
the way we do things here is, it's not this is the mood tonight. No, right. It's like, here's this, here's that. This shit's funny. This shit's actually really fucking good. It's a mix. Impact, emotion.
Yes.
Amazon,
drama.
My Divorce. Steve Jobs. Colin Coward.
Where are we at time-wise?
40.
Okay, that's a good... So I think, we're keeping it short tonight, and that kind of gives you... We'll probably post this. So anyway, the final list...
Read it out, Steve.
With honorable mentions to Disraeli Gears and Trump Mass Replica. And maybe Exile on Main Street as my Steve's pick.
If Steve's got an extra pick,
if I have one small write-in.
Yeah, I like the album. I never really considered it on that level, but
I think
no knock on the album.
Yeah. Number 10, like I said, no rank or order, but Ready to Die by Notorious B.I.G. Black Saint and the Sitter Lady by Charles Mingus. Love Supreme, John Coltrane, and McCoy Tyner and Jimmy Garrison and Elvin
Incredible
Jones.
Album.
I have to mention all four guys because that whole thing.
It's fucking incredible.
Beck's Mellow Gold.
I love it so much.
I can't believe you.
Mountain Dew Rock, fucking with my head.
Get crazy with the Cheese Whiz.
That might be the white pick of the.
He's a lot of white picks. The only whiter pick we can make is Kinda Blue, Miles Davis.
Yeah, right.
Every white person loves that album.
Or Dave Brubeck, Out of Time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Time Out.
Paul's Boutique, Beastie Boys, King Crimson's Red, Electric Ladyland, Jimi Hendrix, James Marshall Hendrix, Dope Throne, Electric Wizard, Andre Young's The Chronic, and Led Zeppelin's Led Zeppelin 1.
I like the list.
I think that's a
I
good.
think this is a pretty
if you
good,
want to figure
pretty good
out
representation of
what the Beefers are
the
about.
dankest shit.
This is required listening.
Oh, absolutely.
So I want to thank everybody. I want to remind everybody that Meet the Beefers is currently out.
Yes. Oh,
on all
let's,
streaming
let's,
sites.
Let's have a minute or two about this, Steve. Here.
And it's available on Apple Music, Spotify, Tidal, Amazon, Napster,
LimeWire, Pirate Bay,
YouTube.
Nya.
My email address.
It's on Gmail. It's on Hotmail.
Bandcamp.
It's on AOL.
It's on.
You can find it in Walmart, Kmart,
Wally World.
Find Disneyland.
It's we all know that this is like the album that it broke new ground. I mean,
It changed the world.
It changed the world. It's the second.
I mean, why do you think we're doing this podcast?
It's the reason. I mean, we would put. It would sound like we would be sounding like
I
assholes.
mean, Barack Obama emailed us asking what is beefing it, so we told him we'd put this podcast up.
We would sound like assholes if we actually put our album, which is amazing in itself, on this list of beefing
It was
albums.
not necessary.
It kind of comes with the territory.
You'll know
as
when
we
you
all
hear
know,
it.
broke new ground.
Broke new ground. Out on the major services.
Yeah, it's big fucking news.
It fucking broke new ground.
And you can find it at Psychedelic Space Beef Band if you type in that, or Meet the Beefers on your local search engine or web engine.
Your Ask Jeeves.
Your Ask Jeeves.
Your classics.
Your Pornhub.com. Anyway, it's a great, fantastic record. You should check it out.
I'm really happy with how everything came out. We listened to some of it earlier tonight.
It pairs really well with Team America World Police.
Yes, it
so
does.
If you feel like screening
and
Team
with New
America
Amsterdam
World Police,
vodka and
a really nice hunk of tri-tip.
roasted potatoes and Uncrustables strawberry, not the grape. Also really well with Tropicana orange juice. Shout out to them.
Aloe vera sunburn lotion.
Whenever you've been burned by the sun, come into the cave with the beefers and aloe vera and recover. Whenever you've been burned by not eating Blasto butter popcorn, throw it in the microwave. Shout out to Blasto butter. And shout out to Full Throttle Energy Drink.
Yes.
The hardest working energy drink in the industry.
Come on now, boy.